This song was written by Elijah to express his sadness and anger. "I Can't Breathe" being the last words of George Floyd, killed by a white police officer in Minneapolis, who knelt on his neck for 8 minutes.
Felt pain, the humiliation, the incredulity of how could this be? All those factors were operating inside me. Why am I lying here? I felt like George's voice, as he was lying there, needed to be heard.
It was an act of police brutality in America which started these protests, but for many, it's racism within the police here that needs to be addressed.
I honestly do not believe that the police service is racist. I do believe that racist police officers are within the service and they need to be muted out. There's a vacuum in clear leadership. And sometimes politically, people aren't sure we would appear to be soft on crime if we're heavy on the police, but that's not the case. When police are criminals, they need to be treated like criminals.
I'm not going to say they haven't tried to improve, but I don't think enough improvement's being made, if I'm putting it simply. They're more heavy-handed when policing black people. The first time I was stopped in my car, the police officer opened my car door at 4 o'clock in the morning after I'd been working and studying, without announcing himself, flashed a torch in my face, didn't give me any notice, and basically was asking me about burglaries in my area, even though I was sat on the driveway of my house.
For Judith Shaw, this all feels very raw, just weeks after the death of her mother. Henrietta Shaw had spent years campaigning for better race relations. She arrived in Moss Side from the Caribbean with just this small suitcase and her treasured tambourine.
She was a staunch campaigner throughout her life for equality, not just racial equality, just people, she believed in people. And, she would be sad. She would be sad. It's all good and well saying that you believe that black lives should matter, but it's how you show that.
I think in business, there's still a sense of white elitism which needs to be looked at in boardrooms, not just amongst individual managers.
Their final message to us all was that as well as employers and institutions needing to change their attitude, it's down to every one of us to make sure we have diverse friendship groups and to speak up and challenge racism whenever we see it, however close to home it might be.
And you know that your grandparents are racist and you're not challenging them, but you want to put Black Lives Matter on your post on Instagram. Challenge your own family, challenge your own friends, understand why they think like that and where it came from, because racism is taught.
The majority are non-racist, but what we need to do is move some of those non-racist people into anti-racist people, which means they're willing to do something about it. They're willing to write to their MPs, they're willing to challenge things in their workplace, they're willing to come and join us on marches and having their voices heard alongside ours.
Well, as we heard in that report, the heart of the debate is the way police behave towards different communities. Lucy's been speaking to the Assistant Chief Constable of Greater Manchester Police, Mabs Hussain.
I have a great deal of sympathy. I can understand the events that have taken place in America, which has led to this outpouring of grief and emotion. I can absolutely understand that, and I can relate to it, coming from the background that I do.
A lot of people I've spoken to say this isn't really for them about what's happened in America, it's what's happening on their own doorstep and how they feel about unfair treatment here.
Yeah, and I understand that as well. The strength of feeling of what's occurred, it's about inequality that people are experiencing in the UK today, across the UK, in a whole host of, whether it's through public health, education, whatever that might be. It's that inequality that people are wanting to express their views about, and policing comes within that.
And what about young people of colour who say that they feel unfairly targeted still by Greater Manchester Police?
We work incredibly hard with our communities to understand any unfairness, any disproportionality of any type, and it's scrutinised at the highest levels. We report into the Chief Constable, we report into an independent advisory group in relation to this, and into the Mayor himself.
But you accept that it does still go on?
Inequality goes on in all walks of life, and that's something that we do accept and we work hard to eradicate, and there's no place for it in Greater Manchester Police.
Depressing, though, that it was in 1998 that David Wilmot, the then Chief Constable, said that GMP was institutionally racist. Do you still think that now?
Absolutely not. I don't know, what led to that in 1998. What I can talk to you about today is 2020 and the great efforts we have made as Greater Manchester Police to represent the communities. In the last 4 years alone, we have gone from 4% BME representation in the workforce to 9%. Our recruitment